Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Steve Swayer here from the Developmental Trauma Training Institute. Beautiful morning here in Bend, Oregon. Hopefully our snow is gone for the year. Happy spring, everybody. So lots of beauty in the world to see today. Wanted to focus in on a conversation I haven't had on any of these Facebook lives or recordings yet around some of the attributes of acute stress response or accumulation that accumulate into a depression and the paralysis of depression. Lots of people in today's world struggling with depression and suffering alone with depression. And in our trainings, we walk through and talk about the hypoarousal arc. The nervous system, after many years of stress and many years of accumulation in the body, weighs down the nervous system into a state of collapse. And a lot of times we talk about trauma, acute stress response from the lens of hyperarousal, meaning sympathetic arousal. It's like your foot being on the gas, being ramped up, being in subtle fight response, conflict response, being things like anxiety, which I've talked about a lot on here. The hypoarousal arc is a downward trend. It's kind of like having a big backpack full of rocks on and a lot of weight on the back. When events have accumulated over time, and often people will begin with that hyperarousal, the nervous system kind of gives up and collapses downward. And on that hypoarousal arc, when we share that in trainings, you can see the accumulation of lower energy, then accumulating towards depression. People can freeze up in that process. Freeze often falls on that hypoarousal arc, and then ultimately accumulating in collapse. Collapse is the nervous system really giving up. Shame is in that area too. Usually we put it on that arc going downward into a place of, around depression, often in that space just before collapse. I share heart rate variation stress results that demonstrate, and we walk through that in our trainings. Shame being right there with it. One of my presentations I call shame the land between the living and the dying. Collapse is what the body does when it really gives up. It gives in to the pressures of what has been accumulated throughout time. And shame is an incredibly debilitating emotion. Carl Jung says it's a soul-eating emotion, where the mind and the body collapse and give up on life. And many people, after being under the stress of today's world, financial stress, the stress of acute stress response with environmental factors and political factors, fall slowly into a state of depression after accumulation over time, and do not come out of that and get trapped there. When people have depression, they often don't feel connected to the activities that they once loved. They feel disconnected from people. I did an intervention recently with somebody. We discussed it as putting on really dark sunglasses on a dark day, where everything he looked at in his life was dark. He couldn't feel the connection to much of anybody or anything anymore. And this was a high-level professional, works really, really hard. Overwork can certainly accumulate to depression and then eventually collapse too. This is kind of when I teach about burnout or compassion fatigue. Oftentimes you'll see that on that arc also. It's the accumulation of the pain and the emotional suffering throughout time. So depression is a collapsed nervous system state. We know there's lots of things that can help depression: activity, exercise, things like that are all wonderful ways to start to wake up the nervous system, get them out of that depression arc. One of the challenges is that individuals that are that depressed really have a hard time getting going on their day, getting even out of bed. Debilitating depression looks like that. And, there are interventions in the Western medical world, medication, stuff like that. But I always teach that, what we need lives right in here. I want my sound device there. So to be able to counter depression, activity is part of doing that. And even if it starts out with just barely getting moving out of the day and starting with light exercise. Oftentimes people don't have the energy to get going, but just getting the body moving out of this frozen state of collapse, depression, just a little bit, a short walk, even getting outside. Oftentimes, some of the attributes of being depression can be endless hours of watching Netflix and TV shows, which keeps the body sedentary and trapped in this state. And so, to be able to move out of that, I have been talking about being on devices, scrolling endlessly will create that too. The body's not moving, stress is being inoculated in with a lot of what we see on social media. And then ultimately the ability to break free from that. Some of the simple moves we can make is decreasing those inputs and then getting the body moving. So to be able to come out of depression is a journey. It's not a destination. There's no quick fixes on it. People reach for lots of things today, and ultimately waking the body back up again. The reason I call that writing shame the land between the living and dying is that you can literally see on the HR results that the person's heart rate variation drops. Their stress response is so high that they drop into this deep place in the nervous system where the reading is almost flatlined. It's way down from an average heartbeat or movement of what a person would see when they're healthy. So to get moving is to start to wake up the nervous system again, to wake up the mind again. And activity does that. It takes a lot of support to do that. So many people with depression give up on even reaching out to people. We're seeing large, an untalked about epidemic of suicidality. These are all attributes to the nervous system being overwhelmed and collapsed, in a state of collapse and giving up. And when people feel incredibly hopeless, they don't feel purpose. You can be going to your job and feel like you're doing nothing and feel like you're not helping anyone, even though you're helping an immense amount of people. All these things accumulate. So the answer is to get in our body, as I've been talking about. Movement is really, really good. If you have a loved one that's suffering with debilitating depression, to really even be firm about getting them out and moving. Come out with me, let's go sit on the front porch. It's baby steps to get the nervous system moving again, to be able to wake up that nervous system. Even for individuals that have been laying in their bed for extended periods of time, oftentimes in the programs I ran, people would be so depressed that they'd be in the basement, on games, on Netflix for endless hours, and just getting them out to the outside of the front door, it can be a first accomplishment. All of these things that I've been talking about are about baby steps. It can be overwhelming to feel like you have to do so much to get them moving, but little baby steps of movement, even getting them moving inside of the house, getting them outside on the front porch, connecting with nature, and then slowly progressing that to a walk down to the mailbox or down the block and back. And it's pretty amazing. We saw this a lot when I ran the trauma-informed wilderness therapy programs, where individuals would come in and some of the physical attributes of depression can literally look like this: arched over, back arched and collapsed over. And we would see individuals come in, and over time, they would move, they would start to exercise, they'd go on some hikes, they would be doing activities with staff. And again, they're not feeling the highest connection. The nervous system is collapsed. It's not feeling the outside world. And this slowly opens them up to the outside world and reconnecting, to re-member, as I say on here all the time, to reconnect to our body, even our mind. In depression, it's so dark sometimes that people feel disconnected for who they are, or even their sense of self. So these baby steps of getting movement going. We do know that, one of the strongest antidotes to depression is exercise. Why is that? Why is exercise a solution to this? Well, the nervous system has been collapsed. It's in that state of the land between the living and the dying. And by getting moving, connecting, this gets the body working again and increases heart rate variation, gets things moving. So this wakes up the nervous system. Even the worst depressions that we interacted with, oftentimes coming out of hospitalizations and things like that, we would see people get a little bit more active each day. And sometimes it was a big conflict to get them even moving, to just get out of bed in the morning. But by us, as people who love individuals in these states of hypoarousal, by our persistence and even conflict sometimes, getting moving a little bit, step by step, can wake that nervous system back up. As a person wakes up, as I was sharing in that example, when we finished some of the deep work in an intensive with this man, he walked outside, and here he had a whole yard full of flowers, and he just walked up and started touching those flowers. He picked a leaf from a plant and smelled it, and he was reconnecting to the world around him because he had those dark sunglasses on. He'd walk outside every day, the sunlight would be out, the flowers would be right in front of him, but he couldn't connect. And by doing some deeper work and offloading some of that pressure that was collapsing his nervous system, he came out and took those dark sunglasses off and saw the world around him again. His activity went up greatly. He was texting me pictures the days afterwards of being out in nature, out walking, doing things to get movement. So there are ways to intensively intervene upon that. And if you know a relative that needs intervention or support in that way, our team is awesome at this kind of work. But ultimately, just those little baby steps of getting them moving, that's the first step in it all, to get them moving and moving forward, even if it's just through the house and getting outside. So thanks for joining today, talking about depression and collapse response, hypoarousal. The nervous system can be woke up again. I know a lot of people in today's world that are feeling very hopeless, and that hopelessness accumulates into that depression. Now I have dark sunglasses on, and we have to intervene and be disciplined to be able to get those dark sunglasses off with all that's going on in people's lives. So hopefully this information helps you a little bit. Get outside, see the beauty today. Again, most places in the country have got some good spring happening. The birds are out and moving. All the animals are moving, and the plants are waking up. Lots of new little plants coming up here on our home here. And get out there and connect. By doing that as a discipline basis, if you're working at really hard work like I do day in and day out, those things keep me connected to the world around me, with all of the stress and things going on that I interact with, to keep those dark sunglasses off, those depression dark sunglasses. So thanks for joining us this week, and I'm excited. We got some other people from the DTTI team that we're lining up to start to share on here too with their incredible wisdom. And thanks for joining us. Please share these videos, and they're all being uploaded into our YouTube channel to share with people. You can see the topic lines in there and what they're about, and it might save somebody's life, especially on depression and hopelessness. Just hearing this information, just sharing this video with somebody speaks to their inner world and what they're experiencing, and in that, a little bit of hope. There's some great testimonial or stories on hopeshot.net that individuals have shared about coming out of depression and finding life again, even when they were extremely suicidal. So share those with them too. When we speak to somebody's story, when we share our story or we share some information like this, it starts to shatter those dark sunglasses, that there is a possibility for hope and difference in a person's life. It could save somebody's life today. Sharing that story, sharing a video, and speaking to their world when they have those dark sunglasses on, it starts to to lift them off. So thanks for joining us. Have a good week, everyone. Same time, same place next week. Thanks for supporting us and DTTI, and as we get this information out in a world that's really struggling. Take care, everybody.